Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we will take a look into the PHP, the quick tour. So, in this particular session, we will go through the what are the different constructs of PHP and what is PHP, and a little bit comparison with JavaScript and other programming languages. We'll see. Okay. First thing is PHP is similar to JavaScript and it is a dynamically typed language. So dynamically typed language means what? You don't have to specify the type, right? In case of a JavaScript, when you are creating the variable, just you said like var and then you created the created the variable. You didn't specify the what type it is. Automatically it will take, so it is dynamically typed. Whatever the value it gets assigned, it will take that particular type. Similar to that, PHP is also dynamically typed. That means you need not specify what data type it has to be, whether it has to be number, text, or character. Automatically it will take according to the value that is getting assigned to it. It uses classes and functions in a way consistent with other object-oriented languages such as C++, C Sharp, and Java. So the usage of the classes and the function, it is, if you have a understanding of other object-oriented languages, how those classes and functions are used, in similar pattern it is used. The syntax for loops, conditionals, and assignment is identical to JavaScript. Okay. The other thing, like the loops, conditional statements, how the assignments are done, it is very similar to the JavaScript. Differs when you get functions, classes, and in how you define the variable. The way how you do it is different. That we will see how it is done in the PHP. PHP tags. Whenever you are writing a PHP code, okay, that particular file, the extension would be .php. For HTML files, we have .html, for JavaScript .js. Similar to that, the PHP code, whichever the file you are going to create, will have an extension of .php. Okay, the most important fact about the PHP is that the programming code can be embedded directly within the HTML file. So whatever the PHP code you have, it is directly embedded in the HTML. We'll see the example for that. And programming code must be contained within the opening PHP tag and the closing PHP tag. What is the opening PHP tag? It is open angle bracket, question mark, and PHP. That is the way you have to have the opening tag for the PHP code, and closing is question mark and the closing angle bracket or greater than sign. Inside these two tags, you will have all the PHP code. Any code outside the tags is echoed directly out to the client. Means if you have any code outside these two tags, it will be shown as is. So it will be shown as a content. So this the one PHP code. This is like if you just use the HTML and if you use the PHP tags. What this page is doing, it is displaying welcome Randy, that is the text as a header it is displayed, and it has a paragraph which will display the time. The server time is, this is the time which is hard coded, and it is strong, means this particular content will be shown as a bold. Okay, so if we have to do it as a with the PHP tags, how we are going to do it? So we will have the one variable declared. We will see how the variables are declared. This is how we declare the variable. User is a variable, and whenever we are declaring a variable, we will be giving this dollar sign, and the variable name is equal to Randy. This is a text followed by a semicolon, and this particular PHP code is inside the opening PHP tag and the closing PHP tag. Whenever you want to include any PHP code, we should have the opening PHP tag and the closing PHP tag. Okay, then next you have regular HTML doc type, then HTML tag, body tag. Inside the body tag I have the h1 tag, and you can see inside the h1 tag the half content is static. This is a static welcome content you have. Then this is the PHP code with the opening PHP tag and closing PHP tag. And you say echo is used to the output the you want to display anything, you use the echo space, then this is the variable. Okay, dollar user variable and followed by a semicolon. What it will do is it has a value of Randy. It will when you code is loaded, it will be shown as welcome Randy. Then next one is the paragraph tag. This is the paragraph tag. Inside that I have a static content, that is the server time is. Then I have the HTML, then I have the PHP code. You can see, then I have the PHP code here. What inside the PHP code I have? So PHP code will have the opening PHP tag and the closing PHP tag. Inside that, for whatever the tags, HTML tags you want to include in your particular page, that you have to use the echo, and you should echo those tags. You can see echo. First one is the strong, that is the strong HTML tag, followed by echo date. So you remember we covered the different objects. Date is one of the object. What it will do is it will create a date object with the current time, current server time, and then echo closing strong HTML tag. So this is when this particular thing is displayed, whatever the HTML, simple HTML with the static values, will be similar to that, but it will dynamically get those values. The HTML page will be created dynamically using this PHP code. We will see the code for that. Okay, before we get into the code, we will see the code. I have created a folder called PHP. This is the first one, the example, same example you saw. I asked you, all of you, to install the XAMPP, right? XAMPP, when you install, for the installation, we had got the link, right? This is the link we had. This is the link. When you do the installation, you can see, I will just click on that so that we can open that particular page. Okay, now you'll land to this page. Either you can Google XAMPP download, or you can click on that particular link. This is apachefriends.org. It is created by the Apache. You can see different versions are there for different operating system. XAMPP for Windows 7.2, basically Windows 7 versions are there. And next is, if you have Linux, you can use this download. And if you have Apple OS, then you can use this particular source code. And also you should look out for whether your system is 64-bit. Okay, so all these I can see is 64-bit. So make sure that your whichever system you operating system you have, you download accordingly. And one thing I noticed, I tried to search for the Windows 10. Windows 10 version is not available. Then I went ahead and downloaded this particular code, which is for the Windows 7. I have the operating system Windows 10, and I have installed this particular, which is for the Windows 7. It works perfectly fine. Okay, you have to, it can be done in 2-3 different flavors. You can just use with the installer, go through the FAQs here. In the FAQ, here is the Windows FAQ. Go through that, you will understand there are different flavors to install. Easiest one is the Easiest one is the one which has the installer. Just download that, and automatically it will start, or you can run the exe, and better to run it as in the administrator mode, and it will do the installation. After successful installation, it will and do the installation in the don't do in the program files, because I saw some error was there if you put it in the program files. Better do it in this your C drive, and it will create a XAMPP folder. Okay, inside the XAMPP it will install all the code, and after successful installation you will see the control panel. So this is the one, the control panel you will see. Okay, the control panel will look like this, and you have Apache, MySQL, FileZilla, Mercury, and the Tomcat. This is the stack that XAMPP has. And suppose you want to test whether your installation is correct or not, start the Apache. And if you want, you can start the MySQL also database. That is not required. If there is any problem, you will see the errors here. So both my Apache server and the MySQL both started without any errors. I don't see any errors here. Once this is done, you have to open a localhost page. Okay, just you can say localhost, enter. So if you see this page without any problems, then your installation is successful. Okay, your installation is successful without any problem, and this gives different options. PHP admin, where you can do the administrative tasks. Okay, so you can do the administrative task, administrative PHP. This is for MySQL you can use. It is taking little time to load. So you can see the local host. Uh, Either you can use a local host or 127.0.0.1. That is what has been given in the here. Okay. Once you see this, start the Apache and MySQL, and this is how you will see this. If you see this page, then it is successful, and this is the folder where you are going to put all your files. See, inside the C there is a XAMPP folder. Inside that htdocs, that is where you are going to place the your PHP code, and either you can use localhost or 127.0.0.1. That is the localhost. So you can see right now these are the by default databases are there. If you want to create your instance, you can create your own instance. Okay, let me go back to the. This is the home page. From here you can navigate. Once you have different applications, so once you have different applications, those applications will show up here. As you build many applications, you can host multiple applications inside this server. That is the advantage. Those applications management can be done from this particular page. Okay, once you do the installation, after doing the installation, you will start the I will close this. Okay, after the installation, you will start the both the services. You will start both the services. Once you start the service, then what you have to do is, this is the code that is I have written. This is what just we saw, which will display the date, server date. And one more thing you have to install is a Notepad++. Notepad++ is also open source. The PHP code looks very clean in the Notepad++. If you have just the normal Notepad, the it doesn't look that good, and if there is any existing code also, there is a very the formats are not maintained, whatever the indentation that is used, that is not maintained. So better get the notepad plus plus that for editing your PHP code. You can see this is the same code which you saw. Guys, please join on time. This is really annoying. You guys are joining in between. Please try to maintain the time. So there is a no interruption. Maybe 5 minutes is fine, but not later than that 5 minutes. This is the code I have, which you just saw. This is the PHP. I am declaring a variable user, assigning randy. Then in between I have PHP embedded inside the HTML. So inside the H1, I have embedded the username, and inside the paragraph, I have embedded the date. So it will show the date. Once you have this code, what you will do is you will take that particular code, copy that code. Okay, I will copy this, and you should go to the htdocs. So c colon XAMPP, inside that I have htdocs. Inside the htdocs I will paste it. I have pasted. Now I can access this one, so I can run that. I will just copy the name. Now everything will run in the local host. Okay, so where is that window open? Okay, so here after the local host, I will give the name of my PHP and hit enter. This is what you are seeing, which is coming from that particular PHP. And the server time, we are this page gets loaded only once. That is why you are not seeing the time changing. If you want, you can refresh that and you can change the time. So I will just refresh that. You will see a different time. Okay, you can see the different time. All right. Okay, this is the code just we saw. Then this is there are two approaches. One approach is like we can mix the HTML and the PHP. The example you just saw, where it will mix both the things, PHP code as well as PHP code is embedded inside the HTML. That is one approach. Or we can have two things separated. Okay. The better option is the second one, where you have the two entities separated. We'll see both the code. This is just an example. If you don't understand some of this code, that is fine. Once we go through the structures of different constructs of the PHP, you will understand it better. Okay, this is the PHP code. As you know, opening tag is there, closing tag, and inside for making a database connection and getting the data, I have a few steps here. DB is the variable. Okay, starts with a dollar sign. New MySQL I, that is the interface, and you will give the parameter. So this method, this class will create a connection object, and for that connection object, what you need, where the server is hosted, that is local host, what is the user with which we have to connect to the database, what is the password for that particular user, and what is the database instance name. DB name is the instance name. If you give this as a parameter, then it will create a connection object, and that connection object is stored in the DB. Then next step is what? You will prepare a query so that you can get the data. What is the query? Select star from artist order by last name. There is a table called as artist. You are going to get all the values, all the attributes from that table, and it will be ordered by the last name. So last name will be it would be in the alphabetical order A to Z. And once you have the query and the database connection, the result is another variable, okay, which will hold the whatever the result that we are going to get. How to get that? We have the DB object, that is the connection object, and you will run the query on that. And what query you will run, that is given in the SQL variable, and that query is this one. So that will return the result object. The result object, all the results will be stored in result object. And inside the HTML, you can see here body and some things are commented out. It is not a full code, just to give a just a picture how we can mix both HTML and PHP. Then PHP code starts here. You can see the PHP code starting here and PHP code ending here. And what I have inside that, I have a while loop. Row is equal to result fetch assoc. That is the a method which will fetch whatever the result object I have. It will fetch the rows, each rows, and this as long as it can fetch, this while loop will go. The minute it goes to the end of the row, all the rows are fetched, this statement will become false and it will come out of the loop. And what I'm doing, echo li. So you remember li is list, list the item. So li I'm using here, and this code ends here. And after that, I have two images. This is pure HTML. Two images. One is add PNG and remove PNG. So something like there is a add, and after that I have the remove, and after that again I have a PHP code which will dynamically give the content. What content it will give? Echo. This is link, and what is the link? Artist.php, and image. Image is given by the row ID. So once I have the row, inside that row there is a column called as ID. Okay, the attribute or the column called as ID. I am fetching that ID. The images are stored based on that, and this dot is nothing but a concatenation. In case of a PHP, to concatenate two strings, we use the dot, and it will make that particular link. And second, it will fetch the first name and the last name. This is also concatenate, and closing li tag. So the list will be shown. First is the image, add, then remove image, then we have the link which is given by the row ID, and it is an image. Okay, and after that I have the first name of the artist and the last name of the artist. And this is the closing of the li, and this is closing of the ul. Opening of the ul was here. Okay, unordered list. This is the closing of the list. After that again I have a code, and if you see here, this is the while loop which opens here and it closes here until all the rows are fetched. I am going to display row by row, and once the while loop ends, that means the data is done, all the data is taken care. Then I have the closing ul tag. So it will display all the row as a one row with two images and first name and image of the artist with the link, and then I have the first name and the last name. So if there are 10 artists are there, 10 artist information will be displayed. Once this is done, you have to remember to close the objects. Again, I have the PHP code, opening tag and the closing tag, result, close. So whenever you open certain object connections, we have to close it. So we are calling the close method on result as well as the database connection object. So here you are seeing it is little confusing, right? There is a HTML tag in between, and in between there is a PHP code. So it becomes a little bit difficult to understand. The other approaches, this is the second approach. In the second approach, this is the first main PHP, where you can see there is a very clear-cut distinction between the HTML and the PHP. So you are going to use the .php files instead of using the code, writing the code. You can see here include. First thing is, this is a PHP code which just includes the two files, artist collection.php and artist.php. And after that, this is the PHP code where I create a new object of this particular artist collection, and rest of the thing is HTML, only this part. Okay, echo artist, output each artist. So this is the only line of the code I will have in my HTML, rest is predominantly HTML, then all the code has been moved into two different classes. Whatever the output you saw in the previous code, the similar output will be shown here. But you can see we have moved all the code to two different file, artist collection.php and class artist. Class artist will do the displaying part. You can see here echo ehref. This is the link. This is the code what we saw in the previous. This is the code that has been moved to a separate PHP. This class artist will make sure that how the row should be painted on the page, and this particular class will make sure that it makes a connection to the database, it gets all the information and it loads the result. Once that result is loaded, this artist will take that result set and it will display one by one values. In PHP, we can give the comments in three distinct ways. One is a single line comment, multi-line comment, and end of line comment. Single line comment, we use the hash. Some of the languages like Python also uses this hash. If you have the hash in the front, rest of the line will be considered as a comment. Multi-line, similar to other language, forward asterisk is the beginning of the comment, asterisk and forward slash is the closing. Whatever is inside these two will be considered as a comment. And end of line comment, if we have two forward slashes, this is also used in C programming. If I have two forward slashes, then rest of the line is considered as a comment. This is the example. Opening PHP and closing PHP. This is one way of single line comment. This is multi-line comment, and this is using the two forward slash. That is the third comment. Variables in PHP are dynamically typed. I told you what is dynamically typed. You don't specify the what type is that particular data. You will just declare the variable. Variables are loosely typed, in that variable can be assigned different data types over time. So once you have certain type of a variable, let's say you, in case of a PHP, you use the dollar and then you will give the variable name. That is how you do the declaration. Let us say you have made dollar count is equal to 42, and later in the count you can give the text, or you can change, you can give the float. So that is how it is loosely typed. This is how the variable declaration is done. Dollar count and assignment is equal to 48 followed by a semicolon. Whenever you see a declaration in JavaScript, we use the keyword var space then variable name. In case of a PHP, dollar sign followed by the variable name. Then you can use that in your program. What are the different data types that are supported in PHP? Boolean, integer, float, string, array, and object. These are the different data types. And constants. Constant is somewhat similar to the variable, except that these values will never change. So why we want to use this? There are certain cases where you want to use the constants, like say database name or the database user, database password. Those things will not change. You can use that. And how it is done is typically whatever is defined in the define function, we use the define function to create the constants. And once you create the constant, you need not use the dollar sign. For example, when I have the variable created dollar count, if I want to use in the later part of PHP code, I have to use it as a dollar count only, right? I cannot just use it as a count. But in case of a constant, once you define, later you can, without a dollar sign, you can use it. I will show you an example here. This is the beginning of the PHP code. This is the end of the PHP code. And define function is used. Define function is used to create the constants. So define, the first one goes as the variable, and second one goes as the value that will be stored. And once it is done, it will become a constant. Database, after this function is called, this database underscore local will become a constant having a value of localhost. Similarly, database username, art store. So this, each define call will create one constant. So the four constants are created, and here those things are used. Database underscore local. You don't see a dollar sign here, right? You will directly use them. Uh, the, uh, so this is useful when you want to have certain entities which might change in the future. Let us say if you use like this in your code, and let us say tomorrow the database changes, you make the changes here, and rest of the places it will get reflected. Writing to output. So I told you echo to output something that will be seen by the browser. You can use the echo function. You saw like in the earlier PHP code, whichever HTML tag you want to include in the your HTML document which will be seen by the browser, you will use it inside the echo. There are two ways of using it. Echo, inside the bracket you can give the string and semicolon. That is one way. Shortcut is this, without using the brackets, but it is always good to use the brackets. String concatenation. In case of a PHP, string concatenation is used done using the period symbol or the dot symbol. Here is the example. Dollar username. This is a variable, has a value as word. Then you say echo. First one is the hello. This is the first string. Dot dollar username. So output would be hello world, right? Here actually space should not be there. Hello world will be concatenated. If you want to have space, either you can include here or you can include there. This is another example. I have a two variables, first name and last name, with some values, Pablo and Picasso. Uh, Here you can see we are echoing. If you remember the HTML tag em is for emphasize, strong is for making the text bold, we use it to make it as italic, so it is a emphasize. Echo, I have the HTML tag inside the double quotes, dot, then I give the first name, so this and this will be concatenated. Again I have dot, I have a space here, again dot, and the dollar last name, then dot, then closing emphasize HTML tag. So this will become this is as good as em, and it will decrypt this Pablo, and it will decrypt this Picasso, and with the closing em tag. This is how the browser will see it. So this is example is like this. This is how it will see it, and this is one way to do it, and this is the second way. In the second way, you can see we have the complete everything. Instead of concatenation, everything I have inside the two double quotes, and I have included them with a spaces here. This is another way to do it. Example 2, these two lines are also equivalent. Okay, so here you can see here double quotes is used, here single quotes is used. For echo, you can either use the double quote or you can use the single quote. Better is like you go with the consistent way of using double quotes, but you should be aware that for echo you can use the single quotes as well. And even these two are equivalent. Here you can see inside the single quotes I have image src is equal to 23 dot jpg. Okay, that is the name of the source file. This is similar to this echo inside the double quotes. Image, then I have this is a backslash. You remember from C programming what is a backslash? It's a for escaping any it's a escape sequence. If you want to escape any kind of a special character, you can do that. So this backslash will escape this one, and this backslash will escape this one. So this will be a single text. String escape sequences, backslash n, the new line or the line feed, backslash t, tab, double backslash. If you want to include backslash in your text, you can use this. And if you want to include a dollar sign, backslash dollar sign, and a backslash double quotes. If you want to include double quote in your content, you can use the backslash. These are some complicated examples. They have used in different combination, but I would say like rather than complicating the thing, you should have a very simple methodology to represent. But anyhow, all these are like all this whatever the differences given here, it is possible way to use. Some are like you can see here, concatenated is used, okay, with the double quotes, and some are used with the single quotes. There are different variations. So whatever was illustrated, that is the example here. You can see echo. So this particular statement, that is the first one. So you can take a look at the first one only. See here we have double quotes. This is the starting of the double quote. This is the ending of the double quote. You can see dot here, and it is concatenated with this value dot. This is concatenated with this space dot. This is concatenated with the last name dot. Again it is a concatenated with the last thing. So how that will translate, you can see this inside, this is the beginning of double quote, this is the beginning of double quote, this form as a one string. Inside I have the single quote for the src, that is how it will be seen here. And for from here to here, okay, I have one more text here. This is one text, this is another text, and this is the a third text, and this is a variable name that, and a dot will it will get concatenated. The first name content is Pablo, and second last name content is Picasso. That is how you will get alt is equal to inside the single quote. Those single quotes are coming from here. Inside the single quote, I get this value. And if you see at the end, when you do the echo, it will echo the pure HTML tag. What HTML tag you want to include, it will include that one. And why we have to use the PHP code? Because some values are dynamically changing. For here, I have like 10 rows. The query has got like 10 rows of data. Every row will have a different first name and last name. So that is how it will be helpful to dynamically get those values. And these are the other examples. Similar to echo, we can use the printf. Okay, printf in PHP, it is almost similar to what you have used the printf in the C programming. So alternate, as an alternative, you can use the printf function derived from the same named function in the C programming language. Includes variation to print to string and files. So if you want to do it for files, then you can use sprintf and fprintf. Takes at least one parameter, which is a string, and that string optionally references parameters which are then integrated into a first string by placeholder substitution. So we'll see the example for that. Can also apply special formatting for instance specific date time formats or number of decimal places. This is also similar to C programming, where we can have some kind of variations in that. We have two variables, product, content is box, weight 1.56789, and a printf statement. If you see printf statement inside the two double quotes, which is exactly same as C programming, inside the two double quotes I have the string s. This is a format specifier. If you remember, in case of C also we used to have format specifier. The %s, this will act like a placeholder, is %.2f. Again, this is a placeholder, and then text pounds. This %s, this placeholder is replaced by the value of the product, that is box, and second placeholder is replaced by this variable whose value is this. So at the end what we get, the output is the box is 1.57 pounds. Why 1.57? We have specified the format. Here we have 1.56789, right? But we are showing only the two digits after the decimal. 0.2f. F stands for the floating numbers. So it will round it and it will make it as a 1.57. Each placeholder requires a percent symbol in the first parameter string followed by a type specifier. So %b is for the binary, %d for signed integer, %f for the float, %o for octal, %x is hexadecimal. Precision allows for control over how many decimal places are shown, important for displaying calculated numbers to user in a pretty way. So the precision, how many digits you want to show, it's a good way to represent. Like it is very convenient with the 2 decimals. It's very easy to grasp. Okay. Precision is achieved in the string with a period dot followed by number specifying the how many digits should be displayed for the floating point numbers. So you can specify 0.2, 0.2 in the previous example you saw. If you say 0.2, then it will display only two decimals, two numbers after the decimal point. That is how you can specify. Okay, next is the program control, which we will see in the next session.